Hey friends, welcome to Infinite Tech Nest, and I'm Kashvi. In this lesson 3, I'm going to cover different command types in SQL: DDL, DML, TCL, and DCL. This is the most frequently asked interview question. Interviewer can ask you, what is DDL or DML? What's the difference between them? Or can ask you to provide examples for any of these command types. Once you know all of these, you will understand and you will be able to respond better. Let's see this in detail. DDL commands in SQL. DDL stands for Data Definition Language. It is used to create and modify the structure of the database objects in SQL. As a DDL example, let's say we are creating a table, index, or removing a table from a database and modifying a table or modifying columns. Then we use DDL commands. Some examples for DDL commands are create, alter, drop, truncate. Let's see all this in action. Let's start from create. It creates object as an example. If you have to create any object type in the database, use create command. Like when you need to create new table or view, you can use create table, table name, or create view, view name, or create database, database name. Let's flip to SQL Server Management Studio. Create database, database name. I'm giving here DBO test1. Let's execute this. Command completed successfully. Let's see in the Object Explorer, right click on the database, refresh. Here it is, DBO test1. Now let's create table. I opened a new query window for this database DBO test1. Just right click on the DBO test1, open a new query like this, and create a new table name, customers, which has person ID, last name, first name, address, city as its column. And these are the data types for various columns, like int means integer, varchar. Let's execute it. Command completed successfully, and let's see the table name by expanding the tables. DBO.customers table is being created. Second is alter. It alters objects of the database. As an example, if you want to modify a column of a table which you created or that already exists, use alter in that case. Alter table, table name, or alter view, view name. Let's flip to SQL Server Management Studio to see this in action. Altering the customer tables by adding one more column, email. Execute. Now if I expand on this DBO customer, but first I have to refresh it, open the table and customers, and then you can see the columns. Email has been added successfully. Next one is drop. Drop deletes objects from the database. For example, if you want to get rid of any table or object type from a SQL database, you will use drop command. For this, let's just create another table and then we will drop that table. See this in action. I'm creating another table named test table with all of these columns. Let's create and then we will learn how to drop this table. You can drop any database objects, table, database, which you have created. Let's execute test table. Okay, so now let's see. At first, we need to refresh our database. Refresh. Okay. Now let's expand to see the table name, test table. Okay, it's being created. Just scroll down, drop table, test table. Now let's execute this. Execute. Now we again have to refresh in order to see the applied changes. Refresh. Okay. Table. Only one table exists, which is the customer tables, which we created previously, and the test table is being dropped. Always be careful before deleting a table. Deleting a table results in loss of all information stored in the table. Now let's see. Next one, truncate. It deletes all records from a table and resets table identity to initial value, identity column. I will cover in future videos. The truncate table command deletes the data inside the table, but not the table itself. Let's just insert a data in customer table to see this in action. Let's run. One row affected. Now let's see whether all of those records are inserted. Select star from customers will retrieve all the rows inserted into the table. Now let's truncate the table. Execute. Okay, let's again run select star from customers table. So the truncate table command deletes the data inside the table, but not the table itself. So all of the rows are being deleted from the table, but the table remained the same. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe button and hit bell icon to receive all the latest notifications so that you do not miss any latest updates on my channel. Thank you. DML commands in SQL. DML stands for Data Manipulation Language. DML commands are used to retrieve, store, modify, delete, insert, and update data in the database. In fact, we are manipulating the data here. That's why it is called Data Manipulation Language. Some of the commands for DML are select, insert, update, delete. Let's start from select. Select. This command or statement is used to retrieve data from a table. Let's insert the data into the customer tables again. Execute. One row effect. Select star will retrieve all the rows from the customer table. We can see one row is inserted. Inserts data into the customer table. We have already seen this in action. Let's see the next one, update. Update modifies existing data into the table. Let's update the customer table. This is the syntax, update, table name, and then set. You have to choose the column. Let's execute. One row affected. Now let's select. See, the last name has been updated. Next one is delete. Delete, it deletes record from a table. Be careful when deleting records in a table. Notice the where clause in the delete statement. The where clause specifies which record should be deleted. If you omit the where clause, all records in the table will be deleted. TCL commands in SQL. TCL stands for Transaction Control Language. These commands are used to manage different transactions occurring within a database. For example, consider the case of money deposit or withdrawal at bank ATM. We entered the information, processed it, and got cash successfully. Then our account record will be updated and committed. But in between, if some process fails and not able to get cash, then all processes will roll back and there will be no update in your account. Let's see some of the examples for TCL command. Commit, rollback, save transaction. Commit. It saves work done in transactions. Rollback restores database to original state since the last commit command in transactions. I want to explain here the difference between commit transaction and rollback transaction. It is important to know that commit in SQL is a transaction control language that is used to permanently save the changes done in the transaction in tables or databases. The database cannot regain its previous state after its execution of commit. Rollback in SQL is a transaction control language that is used to undo the transactions that have not been saved in the database. The command is only being used to undo changes since the last commit. When the transaction is aborted, incorrect execution, or in case of system failure, rollback occurs. At first, I will be creating a new table named staff. Let's execute it. Okay. And let's refresh our database. Staff is being created, and let's insert some of the rows in this new table. So I'm inserting 6 rows. Okay, now let's see all these 6 rows first. Select start from staff. I can see 6 rows inserted successfully. That update staff set allowance is equal to 500 where allowance is 400. So my 3 rows or 3 records will be updated to 500 after this commit. Three rows affected. Let's see, select star from staff. So there are 3 records which were previously 400. Now it's been updated to 500. So the rollback undo the changes made by the current transaction. Save transaction sets a save point. One more command type is DCL commands in SQL. That stands for Data Control Language. It is used to create roles, permissions, and referential integrity as well. It is used to control access to databases by securing it. Some of the commands for DCL are grant, revoke. Grant gives user access privileges to database or specific schema in a database. Revoke withdraws users access privileges to database that are given with the grant command. Grant and revoke commands are mostly used by DBAs to provide or revoke access to database objects like tables, views, or stored procedures to the user. It is important to know all these command types and their meanings. Now let us see the difference between DDL and DML. I'm pausing the video here for a minute so that you guys can recall from my previous slides. At first, let's see the difference between DDL and DML. You can tell that DDL stands for Data Definition Language, while DML stands for Data Manipulation Language. Second, you can state difference between command types. For example, basic commands in DDL are create, alter, drop, and truncate, while basic commands in DML are select, insert, update, and delete. Thirdly, you can say DDL defines column attributes of the table, while DML add or updates the rows of the table. It is frequently asked question. Interviewer can ask you to tell the difference between DDL and DML command type, or can also ask you to provide examples for any of these command types. Likewise, you can explain the difference between other command types if asked by the interviewer. This is the end of lesson 3. Thanks for watching this tutorial on different command types like DML, DDL, TCL, and DCL. Stay tuned for part 4.